Measures are part of the lifeblood of what makes Power BI so powerful. The problem though can be when you have to make them, especially if some of them are duplicated. Take my measure table, where I have two different measures, the sum of quantity, which is my units sold, and the sum of price, which is my earnings. If I wanted to make the previous year, I would have to make one measure referencing the previous year for sum of price, and one calculating the units sold for the previous year. I don't feel like doing that, so is there a quicker way? Well, yes. If you go to the website SQLBI and go into Tabular Editor, you'll see that you've got this free application that you can download. This is version 2. Version 3 is the paid version and basically comes with a lot of nice slice of life features. If you download this, it's nice and easy to install. And when you next open up Power BI, you'll see under External Tools, Tabular Editor. Give you a click, and this is taking us into the back end of Power BI. If I look inside of tables, all my tables are there. And to create a new calculation group, I'm going to right click on tables, choose create new and calculation group. I'm going to call this my expressions. And when I expand this, you'll see I've got calculation items and name. I'm going to go to my calculation items, right click and choose new calculation item. The first thing you want to do is add in the existing measure. So if I've passed in sum of quantity, I want to see sum of quantity. If I passed in sum of price, I want to see sum of price. And the way you do that is selected measure. Selected measure will return whichever measure has been passed in. So I'm going to change this to current measure. Now all I need to do is make all of the measures that rely on this one, such as my previous year, year to date, and rolling period. Right click, new calculation, and the grand tradition of Blue Peter, here's one I made earlier. Calculate my selected measure, for example, sum of quantity, for the same period last year. It might be tempting, but avoid referencing the current measure that you've already made. That's what we would normally do in DAX, but you can read about the literature on the SQLBI website why that's not a good idea. I'm going to update the name of this one, and it's going to be called previous year. Then I'll have my next measure. This measure is going to be my year to date. So I'm going to bring in my selected measure for all the dates year to date. And I'll rename this one year to date. And then my final one is going to be my rolling period of the last 3 months. New calculation, grab my measure, and I'll rename that. And this will be last 3 months. You'll notice that each of these has an ordinal value. This is the sort order. It's which order they're going to appear in your visual. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to rearrange these. As soon as I drag them up and down, I'll see that they generate an ordinal. 0 being the first, and in this case, because I've got 4, 3 being the last. So I want my current measure, then I want my year to date, then I'll have my previous year, and lastly, my last 3 months. With this, I can now go to File and choose Save, to add this into the front end. Switch to Power BI. You'll see there's a little warning telling me I need to refresh that table. This isn't going to refresh everything, just that table. Refresh now. And I'll see over on the right hand side, I now have my table expressions. To add this into my visual, I can go over to the table, drag the name field into columns, and just like that, I've now got all 4 of my measures in one go. If I don't want the sum of quantity, I can swap the sum of quantity out for the sum of price. and that's going to give me my sales. If I didn't want to show them all at the same time, I could of course add myself a slicer. If I put into this my name, I'm going to make this a multi-select button, so I'll change the orientation to horizontal, and I'll change my selection controls to multi-select without control. And just like that, my user can now choose which of the measures they want to see. Calculation groups are really powerful and they'll speed up your report creation tremendously if you can only get permission to install Tabular Editor. I hope you've enjoyed this YTD short. If you've got any questions, do leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next video.